Hello, and welcome back to Factorio. I am Dorthek, and this is episode 5 of our Factorio 0.17 tutorial playthrough. In our last episode, we began work on the jump-off base, the starter base, the section of the factory we're going to use to build the materials needed to build our main factory. We put down this blueprint, which will be available to you in the blueprints file, and we started producing belts. As we discussed, belts are used for construction, which is why we're putting some in the box, but they're also an important ingredient in other products. For example, in order to make underground belts, we need transport belts. To make splitters, we need transport belts. So in addition to putting them in the box here, we're also going to put them on this belt. We'll split it over here for future use. And you'll notice that I'm picking things up fairly quickly. We discussed before that there's 4 toolbars. The items on the first toolbars are automatically bound to numbers 1 through 10 on your keyboard. So I'm a fan of using 1, 2, 3 for my first 3 items here, which are usually my belt that I'm working with. I tend not to use the rest of them, but, they're there. So we will take this over here, and that will allow us to make the next 2 parts of the belt system. This one requires iron plates and transport belts. Well, we will get transport belts right here, and we will get iron plates right here. We're going to output them into this box. We need to make some more iron boxes. Let's make a few, because we will need them. And while that's crafting, let's take a look at our map, because something interesting has happened. Because we have radars going, they're slowly expanding what we can see. You can see that they're adding explored chunks one little bit at a time. So among the things they've uncovered is biter bases. These 3 red areas are biters. If we turn on this overlay here for pollution, we can see how far our pollution has spread. And it has spread to these biters, which means we are in imminent danger of attack, and in fact, there's an attack. There's a biter attacking us. So let's go over there and shoot him. Okay, we shoot by having the gun and ammo equipped over here on the bottom right, and the spacebar fires at nearby enemies. So if I hold down the spacebar, I've now killed this one biter. Fortunately, it was just the one biter, so that's pretty easy. He did, however, do some damage. This belt over here was destroyed outright. We're going to need to replace it. This belt here, you can see it's got these 4 little boxes. It was damaged. Now, damaged items work just fine. This belt will continue to work. However, the next time a biter comes by, it will be much easier for them to destroy it. To fix this, we need repair packs. So under our crafting menu, we have repair packs. Let's make a few. And I'm going to put them onto my toolbar over here. I had coal before. We don't really need the coal there anymore. The other thing it would be nice to make is some turrets for defense. Because, as we saw, with our pollution hitting this biter nest, we're going to keep getting more and more attacks, and they probably all happen in this area. Now you'll notice that this chunk right around the base is missing, and that's because the biter base itself is eating the pollution. We just saw it flicker on and then flicker off. That's how biter bases work. They eat the pollution, and that pollution is used to generate more biters, to generate attacks, and if you have expansion turned on, to expand. So let's take our repair pack, and we'll just left mouse button, hold it over the broken item, and it'll fix it for us. While we're at it, let's make some gun turrets and some more ammo. And we will put a couple down. Now, we don't have a whole lot of ammo to put into them. We should make some more, and we will do that in a minute. While that's crafting, let's remove this, because we don't really need our old copper smelting. And we can remove the old iron smelting. Oh, my inventory is full. Well, that's fine. We'll make some more. Oh, that's way too many. I accidentally shift left clicked on ammunition, which queued up 182 items. We don't want that many. Now, if I right click over down here, it'll take out 5 at a time. If I shift left click on it, it'll cancel the whole build job. So let's queue up not nearly that many. Let's say that. Oh, and we spilled a bunch of plates on the ground because my inventory was too full. If I press F, I will pick things up off the ground in my vicinity, and I can hold F and walk around and pick up all these dropped plates. Alright. We now have turrets, and we have ammunition for the turrets, so we've made 5 of them. So, let's put down some of these turrets. If we look on the map view where it's not dark, we can see that there's a green circle around the turret. That's its shooting radius. So we want to kind of overlap them in order to give them the ability to protect each other and to reinforce each other a little bit. So I will place them like so. And now we need to put some ammunition into it. Fortunately, we've just been making ammunition. Now, all this ammunition we made, it's not in our inventory because it put it all into our active weapon slot. That slot can hold up to 200 pieces of ammunition, and it'll fill that before putting it in the inventory. But we can pick it up from there and put some in the turret. I'm going to put 10 into each one just to get us started. And the way you get 10, the way you do that is right-clicking while holding it puts down 1 at a time. So I'm just going to right-click 10 times. It's faster to do things by dividing in half because you can put in half as much, but in this case that would be more than I wanted to do because I do want some for our own use. Because while these turrets are effective and they will automatically fire on biters, they cannot move. So if a biter is attacked from somewhere else, we're going to need to rush over there. Alright. We picked up this extra iron and copper mining tools, so let's put the drills back down. We're going to put a few more iron drills. We need to move this power pole from between them. And usually the easiest way to connect power poles is kind of around the top of the array of them. You can see it's connected to here, and if we run it down here, that'll reconnect us. Now we need another power pole over here. You will notice that I'm avoiding putting them down around this area here. If I were to put one down, let's say right there, if we look over on the right side of the screen, it shows that this electric mining drill, the expected resources are 20,000 copper ore and 16,000 iron ore, which means it will produce a mixed belt. If we dump the output of this onto a belt, we will get some of each. We do have ways of dealing with a mixed belt, but they're kind of annoying. I'd prefer to avoid it. So, for the moment, we will stay away from that place where the two join. Let's see, did we put down all the drills? No, we have more drills. Let's put them down on the iron line, because we definitely need more iron than copper at this point. Let's run back over to our base, and we can run following the belt to get us a little bit more speed. Is able to produce. Did I not put, I didn't put that inserter down there. Okay. We're also almost out of inserters, so let me run down and get them from the starting area where we began producing them. And while we're at it, I'm going to dump all this copper out of my inventory, and I'm going to do the copper ore. And I'm going to do that by holding the control button and kind of dragging across, and it'll just stuff them into the machines. And same thing with the iron ore. It'll just stuff them into the machines and out of my inventory. You can also do the same thing to some of the coal. I can hold on to a little bit of coal. Alright, so this can now produce underground belts. We're going to put them over here, and because our normal inserters can only reach one space away, we need these red inserters, which are what's called long arm inserters, long-handed inserters. So I'm going to handcraft a few of these and then place it, and now we will get undergrounds here. When I try to put down this next machine to make splitters, when I press Q, you'll notice I get the ghost symbol, as if I don't have any. And the reason for that may be hard to spot. You can see that this inserter is kind of bluish. Blue is level 2 machines. This is an assembling machine 1. This is asking, if you look over on the right, for an assembling machine 2. Well, we can't make those yet, so we will just put down an assembly machine 1 for the moment, and we will upgrade it later. And the big difference here is assembly machine 2s are faster. Now, the other important thing here is this has 3 ingredients. It needs iron plates, it needs transport belts, and also needs electronic circuits. So we're going to produce electronic circuits right here. And again, we're going to use these machines, even though it would be best to use the blue ones. Am I out of assemblers? I'm out of assemblers. So hang on while I run down and get some assemblers. Okay, so now if we look at the ingredients for the green circuits, which we've made before, we need iron plates and copper cables. Well, iron plates we can get right up here, and copper cables we're going to make right down here from copper. Now, there's an interesting question here of ratios. If we look at the assembling machines, we can see that this operates in half a second and requires 3 copper cables. This machine also operates in half a second and produces 2 copper cables. So, in a half-second cycle, these 2 machines together need 6 copper cables, and these 3 machines here create 6 copper cables. And by placing the inserters like so that this machine feeds entirely into here, and this machine feeds entirely into here, and this machine feeds both of these, we create the perfect ratio. We have exactly enough production of copper cables to the production of green circuits that we would like. This may not seem obvious why setting it up this way works, but it does, and the reason it does is the inserters will only feed if there's room to feed. So these 2 inserters will feed appropriately into this, and then we will output it onto this belt. So once again, we have a split belt, half iron plates, half green circuits, which we will now load into the splitter machine and get some splitters. We've completed a weapons research, so we can choose our next research, and if you look, we currently only have 1 research item that requires only red science. Clearly, that's what we need to do. Now, electronics actually doesn't give us anything at all, but it does unlock a lot of things for going forward. Let's keep going over here. So over here, we're going to make kind of a little utility area to produce some power poles. Now, on the blueprint, this is a wooden box, but I don't have any wooden boxes. It doesn't matter. I can just make a metal box. It still gets the same limit. And this needs wood and copper cable, so we'll steal a little bit of copper cable from here. That will disrupt that perfect ratio of ours, but we're not going to make that many of them. Unfortunately, there's no way to automate wood. We have to go and chop wood manually. In some of the mods, you can automate wood, but not in the base game. But we just need this for a little bit to create some power poles for us. Okay, that's our belts and power poles. The next item over here we have to make is inserters. Again, we've made this before. We need gears, we need green circuits, we need iron plates, and we'll put it over there. While we're at it, let's handcraft some lights, because lights are really nice. They make things much more pleasant during the night. They improve visibility, and we can, as soon as we've crafted them, we can place some. This blueprint has lights provided for us. You don't have to use them. They're purely aesthetic and optional, but I find they make it more pleasant, and definitely in the video they make it easier for you, the viewer, to see what I'm doing. You don't need a huge number of lights because they are fairly bright, but you can always use more or less however you feel appropriate. Alright, that is this section of the base. We are going to continue and work on this area here. There's a few machines here without blueprints in them, so I'm going to pull up our recipe, and I'm going to rotate it and place it again. Now, we still don't have all the recipes. You can see the little red no signs, but it should get us something. And remember, we want to line it up so that it's almost entirely blue. Okay, so we can continue this way. We will take this line across. And we can produce some assembly machines over here. We need to get power. Right, electronics are finished, and we finally have the ability to research the fast inserter technology. That's our blue inserters, and the nice thing about blue inserters is they're twice as fast as the yellow inserters. There's some lights, and now that it's getting dark, you can see how much better we can see where we're working with thanks to the lights. Let's keep going this way. Now this section of belt and splitters here looks a little bit complicated. For the moment, we can ignore that. It will make more sense later on as we get more things into place. So over here we will make some mining drills and some turrets. We've got to bring some copper over. Copper will come in over here. Okay, so now we have turrets being automated. Now we have mining drills. And over here we can automate weapon production. Ammunition production, rather. And over here we will make repair packs, because, again, they're very handy to have. And we're out of inserters. Fortunately, we have inserters being made right here. And that's the nice thing about having a base like this, is you don't have to run all over the place to get things. Of course, we don't have the blue inserters yet. We will very soon. Now, we have not yet researched the things we need for the rest of this, so we're going to leave this part as it is and move on to science. Now, we built science before. We built science over here. And we automated red science by having a single machine making some red science packs that then go into these two labs, and a single gear machine producing to the science. The thing is, we want to go faster. That's a very slow way to do science. As you can see in this setup, we want to be able to run 20 labs at a time. We can't run 20 labs off a single assembly machine, so we want to make a bunch of them. Let's start with red science, since we've done that already. Let's start with red labs, since we've done red science, since we've done that already. Now, red science, as we know, needs copper plates and iron gear wheels. So we're going to make this belt here that will feed these machines. And up here, we will use this gear maker to put iron gear wheels on this side of the belt. And we're going to use this belt to put copper plates on the other side of the belt. Let's run our power poles. And again, I'm holding down the button while running with the power poles to make them auto-place them. And we need inserters. And we will put them out on this belt right here. Now, we've finished fast inserter research, and unfortunately we cannot research anything else right now because everything else requires green science. So we'd better get on with that. We're making our red science. Now, I just realized that this blueprint that I had in here was an older blueprint. I will try to update it in the blueprint folder because this was a blueprint from 0.16. In 0.17, we do not need that many machines. We need 5. Now you may ask, why 5? The reason is, if we look at the recipe, it takes 5 seconds to craft a single red science pack. Which means if we have 5 machines, we're crafting it at exactly 1 red pack per second. Well, why does that matter? It matters because we want to produce things in a balanced fashion. So if we look at the green recipe takes 6 seconds. Which means if we run 6 green assembly machines, they will produce exactly the same number of green science packs as the red machine produces red science packs. And that means that we're not wasting either one when we do research. This becomes more important as we get more sophisticated and more expensive to produce science packs. Now, the green science pack is the logistic science pack, and its requirements are a little bit more complicated. It needs transport belts and inserters. Well, we're making both up here. So, we will run a belt here and a belt here. And this will put our transport belts on one side and our inserters on the other side. Lovely. So we're now producing green science packs. And of course these put them on the other side of the belt, so we have a mixed belt, which we can now feed to our labs. Which means that we need to make some labs. This is enough for 4. We need more iron gear wheels and electronic circuits. Well, that's not a problem. We know where to get those. Iron gear wheels we can grab off this belt here. And if you place yourself exactly right, you can press F and pick up the gear wheels without picking up the copper plates. And if you can't, that's okay too. And then we can do the same thing with green circuits, and I am picking up the iron. That's okay. Can make a few more. Apparently I did not place this power pole and did something strange over there. So let's go down and disassemble our starter area because there's really nothing we need here at this point. Everything that's being made here we're making better up there, and we can use the resources. Now, generally, when you're disassembling an area, you want to start from the supply side, because if we pick up, say, this box first, and we just saw this inserter now place a inserter on the ground. If I pick it up, it'll put another one there. So that's kind of annoying. But if I start by picking up these supply boxes, that's not going to happen. You can also cut power, which will make the inserters stop running. That's another option. And I'm just right mouse button clicking all this stuff to get it up off the ground. Oh, I wanted that one. We need that one because that's our line to power this in. Let's put a little bit more iron production, and I would want to put this here, and that's still okay. That's not overlapping our line. While we're over here, let's take a look. How are biters doing? Well, we're uncovering a few more biters. We're also uncovering some more copper ore supplies over here, which is nice enough, I suppose. And we also still have good radar coverage of our whole base. And that's also a nice thing to check on. Another thing that's always worth checking is power. How are we doing on power? We're at about half of our capacity. Usually when you get to half, that to me is a sign that it's probably time to upgrade the power plant. And we will do that next time. So, we have all this copper. Let's put it into somewhere where these machines can take copper. And these machines can take copper, because we certainly don't need to be carrying around that much of it. And let's put down some science labs. As many as we made so far. We can make more. Now, there are many ways to organize a science setup. I find this to be a very simple and efficient way to do it. We have these inserters here that pick up off the belt and place it in, and we have other inserters that pick up from the previous lab and put it into the next one. And we are now researching red and green science. So we have some choices on what to research next, and what we're going to choose is this right here, electric energy distribution, because this gives us better power poles, and those are very, very handy. And with that, we're going to finish for today. We've accomplished a great deal. We've built out this whole area of our starter base, what a lot of people call the mall, and we've started our much more organized science production. So, with that, why don't you go ahead and try one of these yourself? And as always, don't forget to save.